Hey guys, please like and subscribe if you like the content, and check out my other videos. I have some reviews of Star Wars content, TV shows, as well as a sequel re-edit remake that you might find interesting. It's very good story-wise from what I've heard. Please check it out and let's get into this. So, I am not a big fan of Jedi in general being sexual, period, in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what type of sexuality, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter to me. I was always under the impression, you watched the original trilogy, that Jedi were beyond that, right? And that kind of goes back to the whole attachments thing and blah, 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 blah. And then you go into the prequel trilogy, and of course it created a big problem for Anakin. And you never got the impression at all from Obi-Wan that he was interested in that. There were bigger things. Like they're supposed to be sort of beyond that. It's almost like a play on celibacy. Like, not that I'm saying in real life celibacy is necessarily a good thing, because we very well know that there's been problems with that within the Catholic Church and whatnot. But I just don't. I like the idea that the Jedi are. It's in a movie, not in real life. In a movie, are able to be beyond that. Like they're so in tune with the Force that those types of desires and stuff just aren't their thing. So there's a whole outcry about Obi-Wan being bi, and it's like, my outcry isn't whether or not he's bi. My outcry is, why is he sexual at all? Why would there be any implication of that? And I know a lot of EU people are not going to like me saying what I'm about to say, but I'm not a huge fan of Luke having a family. I'm just not a fan of that. I like the character of Mara Jade. I love the stories in the EU about Luke and his family, and I love how him and Mara Jade come together, and that whole story it's a really good story. But just the overall idea that he isn't beyond those desires after, Return of the Jedi, and he's going off, and falling for a woman and doing all that type of stuff. I always felt like that just didn't feel right for the Jedi. And again, I say that after the original trilogy, and then sort of the confirmation of the issue that brings in the prequel trilogy. And even Sith, to me, being sexual, it doesn't make any sense. Like, this idea that Palpatine was, some people are telling me that his son was a clone, and, whatever the reason, this idea that they're procreating, it just doesn't make sense to me. It seems silly. It brings them down a notch instead of keeping them elevated, like Jedi, protectors of the galaxy and keepers of the peace, and when they make mistakes, it has to do with that. It doesn't have to do with these other things, other than Anakin, which again confirms that they shouldn't be doing those things. And I'm not saying you can't have attachments. Like Luke loved his father, Luke loved his sister, but this idea that you're going off and running around and sleeping with women and all this stuff when you're a Jedi monk, it just seems kind of weird to me. And so, again, for me, this whole new thing where they're implying or whatever, alluding to the fact that Obi-Wan's bi, the alluding to him being sexual at all is just dumb. It takes away from the whole thing. It doesn't make any sense. It goes against his character. You get absolutely zero indicator that that's ever even remotely in his mind, or that he ever cared about that. I know people are trying to twist and try to say that he maybe had a thing for Padme because there's this possible hint of it. And no, there isn't. It doesn't exist. This is just made up stuff, because I think right now, culturally, we're just over sexualized. It seems like that's all that anyone worries about anymore is sex. Like, there's other things in life, and the Jedi are those other things, and separated from that. And I thought that was really cool. And they went, So in conclusion, I'm just not a big fan of this. I just think it's silly. I think worrying constantly about people's sexuality in Star Wars just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. It takes away from what the audience really wants to worry about and has worried about in the past, and what's made it successful, right? We were not all concerned about people's sexuality. We were just concerned with the story and how cool it was and how it flowed and what was going on, and the good and the bad and the when and the how and the why, and we weren't worried about that. And so I just really think it takes away from that and just makes it kind of too much into our world and not enough into something you can escape into. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good